Welcome back to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. I'm Brock Galvin, and I am here with Dwight Smith. We have a couple exciting new title sponsors of the podcast that we've been looking forward to sharing with the masses. And so this episode of the Aggie Pride podcast is brought to you by the Buckhorn Meat Company, where quality and tradition come together. Whether you're firing up the grill for a tailgate, Dwight, or you're stocking the freezer or celebrating another big Aggie win, because that's all we do under Coach Plough, Buckhorn Meat Co. has you covered. Locally owned from the owners of Buckhorn Steakhouse and Buckhorn Barbecue, they now bring you Buckhorn Meat Co., which proudly serves the Sacramento Valley, specializing in premium cuts, processing, wild game butchering done right. I'm ready. So before your next barbecue or hunt, swing by the Buckhorn Meat Co. in Esparto or visit buckhornmeatco.com to order online. Buckhorn Meat Company, fuel your pride, feed your crew. Dwight, share with the people our second titled sponsor.
Hey, Brock, good to be with you. And I love me some Buckhorn. Great memories. Shout out to my boy Sid for his wedding. We did one of the pre-wedding receptions at the Buckhorn venue, I think out in Winters. Fantastic food, fantastic people. Check them out. We're excited about this episode and excited to talk about the game next week in Greeley, Colorado. And really excited for you to hear our interview with the one and only Coach Tim Plough in a bit. But before we do, it's important for everyone to know that Aggie Pride Podcast is also brought to you by Rivals, the new way to snack like a champion. I'm a big snack guy myself. Brock, I know that you and Easton are big snackers as well. Packed with 8 grams of plant protein, Rivals stuffed snacks gives you all the flavor and crunch you crave without the junk. Whether you're hitting the gym, tailgating before kickoff, or grinding through a long work day, Rivals keeps you fueled and focused. Grab a bag at rivalssnacks.com and taste the difference. Rivals, big flavor, better fuel, built for game day.
Big news. Thank you to both of those companies. This is legit. If you haven't been to our website, AggiePridePodcast.com, we now have all of our sponsors on the header, so you can check out the beautiful businesses who are sponsoring not only the podcast, but just UC Davis football and big supporters of the football program. Thanks again. This helps us keep doing the podcast, which gives us some joy and hopefully brings a little bit of joy to your days as listeners as well. I want to segue to the Find Joy Coach Tim Plough, which is a fire interview. We talk about everything, Dwight, as you know, and there's no stone left unturned. So if you're wondering about Oregon State or the injuries or the second half of the season or what he really thinks about the Mercer result, he doesn't hold back. And I think that's pretty legit, for one, that he'd be willing to come on the show and just be completely transparent. I think for me, the level of respect just keeps going up as I get to spend more time getting to know him, the foundation that he's kind of set for his life. So stick around for the rest of the interview after Dwight and I's segment. Dwight, we'll go through some keys to the game and some score predictions, but just kind of any opening thoughts from you.
Yeah, we're excited for this game up in Greeley, which I think is at elevation, Brock. I'd have to check that, but it's a funky place to play. And yeah, we're coming off the bye week, which is great. You'll get to hear Coach's thoughts on the significance of playing after the bye week in the interview as well. Want to get quickly into Northern Colorado. Just one final thought on Coach Plough, just echoing what you shared. Just the building blocks from when we first heard his introductory press conference, from when we were coached by Coach Tim Plough back in our playing days. He's just built a level of consistency, which I really appreciate. The honesty, the transparency, And I think it's a part of the success of the program. I don't know, Brock, if you got to see the post-game press conference after the NAU game, but our guy, Jacob Syke, had a really powerful moment talking about Coach Plough's passion for the program and how he saw his press conference. And that was a huge piece of what made him decide to bring his talents out to Davis, California. So it goes to us as these random guys doing the podcast. And hopefully you as fans of the program feel it. But it also is appreciated by the players. And you'll get to hear a bit about Coach Plough's approach to even inspiring and guiding the team. And, it just comes across. So excited for y'all to hear that interview. Northern Colorado. Wow. We're having a different conversation this year, Brock, than we did last year. And it will certainly not be the same game as what occurred last year at UC Davis Health Stadium. This team is much improved. I got to watch some of the game last night. I know you did. Got to see some of their game against Idaho, going out to the Kibbe Dome and coming away with a big win. There's a lot to look out for, whether you're talking about their defensive front, just all over the place. Rodriguez, I love that guy. He's a guy we got to watch out for. Big D tackle, but is able to move. You got Chapa in the back just flying around. A really, really dynamic player. And then on offense, they've got weapons. You got to look out for Cheeks on the outside. Gibson, an incredible story. Backup guy. Starter gets injured. Now he's having his shot. Had a tough night last night, but also is a guy that you can tell is a leader on the team. So the culture seems to be gelling in Greeley. They're getting some results. They've lost some tough games this year, a 3-4 record, but not a team that we can look past by any means, and a true test, a true worthy opponent. And we're going to have to pull out all of our stops and be a really, really consistent team across all phases if we want to come out of Greeley with the win. What sticks out to you, Brock?
Well, I'm a story guy. Eric Gibson, their quarterback who threw 4 picks last night. One of them, he thought he drew off the Sac State D line, chucked it up, pick. He's like, what? You should have thrown the flag. That was a big moment in the game. But he's a gunslinger. I mean, yeah, he did not flinch. Like, he never looked scared to put the ball in the air after a pick. I was really impressed with him, but just interesting. Like, grew up in Virginia, won a state championship, the school's first state championship ever as a quarterback, then goes to LSU, the LSU, as a quarterback for a couple of seasons on the roster. Doesn't work out. Transfers to Monterey Peninsula College and plays JUCO football, all conference kid there. And then ends up going to Northern Colorado, like a team that has been FCS bottom dweller for years and gets his opportunity and has made the most of it. And so I've been impressed with him. He seems like a poised dude. He's not scared to chuck it around. Cheeks is legit on the outside, but Monroe, the other receiver, had his touchdown called back that would have been the game winner. I don't know if it was controversially, like classic FCS fashion, like the camera angles didn't really show it that well. He might have been out of bounds still. Coach Lamb was, he was out. Okay. Coach Lamb was all pissed on the
looked out to me, but
yeah. But I mean, watching that game, there's some guys on defense. I remember even when Megan Robinson was on the pod a few weeks ago, she mentioned Cam Chapa as like, hey, this is a potential Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year award winner. He racks up the tackles, leads the team in tackles, and flies around from the safety position. With Rex out, that becomes slightly more likely that he could take home an award like that, but probably not the case. Because why? Because if you look at this defense, they haven't necessarily been shutting teams down, especially the last couple weeks. So Idaho, who has really fallen on hard times, lost again this past weekend to Eastern Washington in a rivalry game, drops 33 on them. Sac State drops 40 on them. Idaho State is an explosive offense that we know Cody Hawkins does a good job with. Only scored 26, and then you do look look at their first 4 games, and the defensive performance was a lot better, which is what you would expect from an Ed Lamb team because he is more of a defensive guy. And Coach Plough will kind of get into some of the matchup and getting to coach against a good defensive coach and having a history with him. But for me, the things that I look at, the game is at elevation. Um, it is in front of a tiny stadium where maybe there'll be a solid crowd, but like a solid crowd in Greeley is like 5,000 people. I've talked about this before. I think that's challenging. Um, Coach Plow will talk about it. Just it is interesting to kind of just hear more about like how much the injuries have impacted like even the psyche of the team and just kind of how it makes things feel harder is the vibe that I got. And so I hope the bye week kind of rejuvenated the guys a bit. And I hope we're able to go to Greeley and pick up a win that we should pick up. I think we're a better team. We're a more talented team, even with the injuries we've had. I think it's a game that we should go in and win. But I think as we get to the Buckhorn Miko score predictions, the score prediction is not going to be 10-7. I'm not predicting something low scoring. So before we go there, Dwight, any final keys for you from our end? I know we kind of shared some of the guys on their side that we're looking for, but anything you're looking for from the Aggies, and then you can segue that into your score prediction.
Yeah, it's just from the defensive perspective, it's just continuing to build on what we've seen over the last couple weeks. Last week, obviously, incredible pressure on the quarterback. Like you said, Gibson's not afraid to chuck it. I think that pressure dynamic's going to be interesting. You look at Sac State, who has really been successful in their ability to create pressure. It wasn't a huge factor last night, so I would say like Northern Colorado's offensive front is improving, right? We look at what's the quality of a good team, always improving. So I think our defensive ability to create pressure, put Gibson in less than ideal situations is going to continue to be huge. And then of course, like the run stopping ability, Sac State ran a ton for a ton of yards, and that's kind of their thing. Northern Colorado, I think, ran for over 150 yards on the ground as well, and they have some big backs. Price can bruise some guys. And so I think, again, like I'd love to see us, a key to me is, can we do both, right? Can we, in the same game, disrupt with getting to the quarterback and stop the run, right? And keep them under whatever number the coach has set, right? Whether that's 100 or 75, whatever that might be. So that's kind of a key for me. And I agree. I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game. I look to our offense to continue to build. Caden Pinnick has given us no indicators to otherwise. I think that he's going to keep rising, keep getting better. Coach Shelton, Coach Plow getting him right. So I look to our offense to produce at a similar or better level than they have been. And so I'm thinking we're going to come out of there with a victory as well. I'm saying we just go straight, 5 touchdowns. So that gets me to 35 for the Aggies. And I think, Northern Colorado will score. I would love to see a shutout for the first time this year. I think they're going to get on the board, but I think Coach Coombs and the team are going to come in with a great scheme from the jump, and also make adjustments at halftime that limit them to 3 scores. So I'm putting out the score prediction of UC Davis 35, Northern Colorado 21.
I like that. You kind
What do
of
you got, Brock?
processed. Yeah, I like that. You processed your score. You're like, okay, fine. You
I
get there.
had to do the math. I had to
Yeah.
do the math, not my
Sounds
strong
good.
suit.
Nottingham Field opened in 1995, serves as home for the UNC Bears football and track and field programs located on the Greeley campus, seating capacity 8,533. And the reason why I'm on the facilities page is because I was wondering what the surface was. In my memories, I remembered chunky southern Utah Cedar City-esque grass. It is now state-of-the-art synthetic turf from one of the many turf companies you can get fake grass from. Um, I bring that up because I couldn't remember, and I think having turf will showcase our 5-letter word, speed, and we have speed. We are not a West Coast UC Davis offense where we're dinking and dunking to possession-based receivers. We have explosive players in the backfield, on the perimeter, and under center. And Caden Pinnick is not a Pavia who's going to Heisman strike the pose. He is a collected dude. He does have an anger streak in him, we've learned, which is fine. But I do not get the sense that he's someone who takes a bye week and rests on his laurels. This guy is driven. And I think the tip of the iceberg is just kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like we're just getting there with Caden. And so my prediction is a higher scoring game. I think our defense, I want to say our defense continues to get better and shuts them out the way we held Northern Arizona to 24. If I'm not mistaken, it was 45-24 final. And maybe 27 doesn't sound like that much of a rung up, but I see this as a 38-27 UC Davis win. Maybe it's like 31-27 going into the fourth quarter or something. Like, I do think it could be a pretty close game. Historically, I'm wrong, kind of like our boy Stanford Steve on College Game Day. But that's just the vibe I get. I'm excited to watch the game. It was kind of nice not to like have to watch a ton of FCS this weekend, although we still kind of did. But similarly to Coach Shelton telling Scott Judson and the streets of Davis, it's nice to watch football this weekend. Like, we kind of got that feeling a little bit too. Like, sweet, I'm watching the Niners tonight. I'm not worried about like having to prep every single thing about the podcast. So it's also exciting to get back into it and have just a really stellar team to watch. And so awesome interview with Coach Plough about to come up. We'll leave with this. The AggiePridePodcast.com has a merchandise updated as well. Forgot to tell you that, Dwight. So the new hats are live on there, so you can click on that and zoom in and see what they look like. We did keep the classic blue rope because that, due to popular demand, is still available. But then we have the two-tone tan and navy or gray and navy that people can get as well. So go to AggiePridePodcast.com, snag a hat. They will be done next week, which means you can wear it to the Idaho State game if you're going to that one. This will be the last order for the season. So if you're on the fence or whatnot, just, feel free to snag them. But up next is our interview with Coach Tim Plough, and it's a good one. So enjoy.
This episode is sponsored by Larison Real Estate Team, Bob and Jan Larison. You already know the name. They've been incredible supporters of UC Davis football, this podcast, and of course, they're Lance's parents, now cheering him on as he suits up for the New England Patriots. Off the field, Bob and Jan are one of the top real estate teams in the region, helping folks buy and sell across Idaho and Eastern Oregon. Whether it's a home, land, or investment property, they bring experience, hustle, and heart to every deal. So if you're looking to make a move or just want honest guidance, check out LarisonTeam.com or follow them on Instagram at Larison Real Estate. Huge thanks to Bob and Jan for backing Aggie Pride.
Bank like a champion when you bank with University Credit Union. UCU is the official credit union of UC Davis and is committed to giving every UC Davis student, faculty, staff, and alum a financial advantage. From low loan rates and financial coaching to high savings rates, including our new Elite Certificate Special, University Credit Union helps you reach your financial goals. Visit ucu.org for details. Use promo code AggiePridePodcast to get started. University Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
The Aggie Football Fund provides essential gap funding for the UC Davis football program, empowering the team to access vital resources for player development and program success. It also reconnects and engages former football alumni to maintain the legacy of Aggie Pride and perpetuity. Through direct and flexible support, the AFF bridges funding gaps while fostering a thriving alumni community. Visit AggieFootballFund.com for more information. We've got a new home for Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. Visit AggiePridePodcast.com. It's the hub for everything. All our episodes, ways to subscribe for early access, and our brand new Aggie Pride classic hats in navy or beige. While you're there, sign up so you never miss an update, and follow us on all our socials for game day content, throwbacks, and behind the scenes. And don't forget, like, follow, and share the pod so we can keep growing the Aggie fan community.
Welcome back to Aggie Pride, a UC Davis football podcast. Bye week has concluded. We're getting ready for the second half of the season as the Aggies travel to Greeley to take on Northern Colorado. We have a special guest with us today. It's our head coach, our former coach, Tim Plough, is in the virtual house. Coach, how you doing?
Guys, glad to be invited back. It's been a while, so fired up. Ask away, man. I'm fired up to talk some Aggie football.
Yeah, Coach, we're excited to have you. Just starting with the check-in, and we know you're in a pit stop right now between some Little League and some more coming later, and we're in the transition from bye week to getting ready for Northern Colorado. How are you doing? I know it's a grind at this point of the season. I've heard you comment about that grind, and so just want to check in with you as we kick off our chat today. How are you feeling? How are you doing getting ready for the second half of the season?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I was thinking about the other day how Coach Biggs and Coach Hawk and Wilcox and these guys I work for, no one ever asked the head coach that question. Like, hey, how is that guy doing? You know what I mean? Like everyone's always so I appreciate the question. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting season. I mean, just kind of as smooth as last year went. I think the football gods were like, okay, we're going to give you the most difficult situation ever here and try and see how you guys do. So it's been a really, really long grind of a year already. We still got 5 games left, which is crazy to think. And like I was telling the team, if we want to do what we want to do, we might have 9-10 games left, right? So there's still a lot of football to be played, but feels like we've played 2 or 3 seasons already this year. But man, where else would you rather be? I just love coming to work every day. Love the staff I'm around. Love these players I'm around. You know, what they've been able to accomplish already this season is just remarkable. And I think Aggie Pride is really showing itself this season with these guys and how they've banded together and just figured out ways to win football games and beat the odds. And so it's been a long grind of a year, but man, some enjoyable moments. And every day I feel very fortunate to be here and, be an Aggie and try to figure out ways to keep this going. So tired, but the bye week came at a good time. Hopefully rejuvenate ourselves, get back to neutral, and get ready for a final push here.
Love it. Coach, you even said it before, we don't know what it's like to be the head coach, but we've been players and even coaches ourselves at the high school level underneath head coach. And Dwight and I have had leadership positions in our own professional careers. And we feel that slice of that phrase comes to mind, like heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like sometimes it might feel like a burden. Sometimes it's just heavy. And there's a lot of heavy work that goes into being a head coach at a Division I school. How are you re-energizing? And I know we asked you a question similarly a couple of times last year, but what does kind of give you that ability to exhale? Is it a particular practice, a place, a person that really kind of fills you back up and reminds you of okay, this is why I'm doing this, or here's my purpose?
Yeah, I think I try to have a routine. I know I've talked to you guys about that before. I think it's so important for everyone to have a healthy routine. We talk about there's 3 things in life that you can't buy, right? You can't buy your health. And so how you take care of yourself on a daily basis is really important. And so I try to keep a routine for my mental health and physical health of, hey man, I got to get a workout in. I got to meditate in the mornings. I got to find time for myself, and I try to keep a routine for that no matter what's going on. You can't buy time. Time is always moving, and so I want to make sure the time that I have here that I'm using it wisely and I'm not wasting my staff's time, not wasting the players' time, that it's valuable, and that it's enjoyable time. And then you can't buy love, and who you surround yourself with every day is so important. You talk about like a person that can help me get re-energized, but one of the reasons I wanted to be the head coach here is I can create time with my family. I can be around my sons. I can be around my wife, and no one's telling me that I can't, and they're not taking that time away from me. And so, being able to go to my son, he's on a travel baseball team, the junior Aggies, and they get to practice with the Tommy Nicholson and the UC Davis baseball staff twice a week. And I got to watch both his games last night. And then I got to, see my son's, he's 4 years old, but he's playing in the coach pitch league. Got to watch him this morning. I'm going to go watch my 7-year-old this afternoon. Took my wife out for a dinner and a movie on, Friday night. So it's like you get around the people that you really love. And that reminds you kind of, why you're doing these things and what's really important to you. And maybe that third down, it's important, but my family's way more important than that third down. And so being able to be around them on a daily basis, it just keeps you energized. And then being around these players and staff, man, I love UC Davis, obviously, and I am pretty bullish on what I want to get accomplished here. And that creates its own pressure. Man, there's just a lot of things that I feel like, I want to get accomplished, and it's going to be really hard to do. So sometimes that feels like it's really close. Sometimes there's days I feel like, I don't know if we're ever going to do it, and it bums me out. And then you get around the players and the staff, and you're like, man, these guys care just as much as I do. And to be around 150 people that care as much as you do, that energizes you too. Like, okay, this makes me want to come to work and work even harder.
Well said, Coach. I was taking mental notes on the way you frame that, and it's just true, and that crosses the boundaries of like whatever profession, whoever your family is, however old you are, right? Like time, love, and how you engage those things become really important. So I appreciate that. And you mentioned like you feel the burden of the role and the vision you have for the role, which you've been in the program, which you've been really clear about. And I'm just curious, as we sit in this bye week, we had last year and all the success that came with that. And then this year and the challenges and the successes that have been accomplished. So just as you sit here wrapping up the bye week, getting ready for Northern Colorado, getting ready for the second half of the season, as you step back and think about your vision for the program and the ground that's been gained and the ground that we still have to gain, just want to open up the floor for some of your thoughts on that. Like, have you been really happy to see the alums coming back, for example, and people being engaged in the program, attendance early this year? And then where are the spots that you're like, all right, great, we still have got ground to gain?
Yeah, I think the hard part, and where I got to be careful, because sometimes I speak maybe about what we don't have too much, is like, probably the line I've been saying is, we're not where we used to be, right? Which is great, but we're not where we want to be either. And so there's just a lot of work that still has to be done. And so, man, I've been so pleased and thankful and grateful for everyone trying to get aligned with that vision and working really hard to get that done. How we've improved the game day atmosphere and trying to get people to show up to the games, and we're getting more student involvement. Again, it's not where we used to be. It's better. Not where we want to be either, but it's improved, right? Like there's effort there from a lot of people in the department, that are trying to make that work. And for that, I really appreciate it. And, I think the thing I keep looking at is, I think there's a handful of teams that are doing this at an extremely high level. And we're not at that level yet. Like, we're just not at those 4 or 5 teams yet. We're closing the gap. I mean, we're getting there. But I still think it's going to take a commitment from everybody to get that done. And I think that we have more people that want to get involved. We have more people that have gotten involved, but we're still far behind those handful of teams of what type of support and financial backing and consistency that we're going to need to consistently compete with those teams. And so, the positive is I've seen people engage and try to help it, which is awesome. And then I think the uphill climb, or sometimes the frustration I feel, is it's not happening as fast as I would like it to happen. Um, I think I thought some magical door was going to open and everything was going to start happening right away, and it's just not the case. But I know that my job is to just coach the team, get them as prepared as possible, try to get them to perform at a consistent level, because the only thing that's going to help this continue to grow is if we continue to have success and play with Aggie pride and inspire people to get involved. And so that's probably the pressure that you feel on a daily basis in the role, is like you're out there feeling like a beggar sometimes, like you're just doing a lot of things that I don't really want to do. I want to be a coach. I want to coach football, and I want to be around the players, and I want to be in the quarterback meetings. And I don't get to do that stuff because I'm out there moving and shaking and begging and talking and trying to get people involved. And then you feel the pressure of, boy, we better keep getting positive results if we want these people to really buy into what we're doing. And so there's like I said, we're not where we used to be, which a lot of people deserve credit for that. Not me. A lot of people around the program, Rocco and Flush, at the forefront of that, for, hey, that we're moving the staff, the players, they deserve a lot of the credit. But we're not where we want to be either. But man, I'm bullish. I'm not gonna stop pushing. I'm not gonna start, being down about it. I think we can get there. I believe we can get there. And no matter what happens this season or the next season, I still have a vision that at some point we are gonna play in the last game of the year. We're gonna win that game, and I just think that's possible. And if I didn't think it was possible, like I said, then I wouldn't even be here. But I believe it's possible. And so I'm just going to keep pushing as hard as I can every day to keep putting another block down on that foundation, hopefully build that thing up to where we can get it done.
Yeah, and you're doing that, and we've seen the fruit of that. And it's not just you, right? It's the whole program. It's Flush and Rocco and all the people that are involved, that have been involved, that have folks that have been getting involved recently too. And we've had a chance to talk to a lot of those folks, and there's a real palpable excitement around the program, which is expanding. And yet those things take time. As you look ahead, I know you've got ideas and plans cooking for not just the vision, but what are the steps to get us there. So share a little bit of your thoughts and what you have in mind for, even as we look to the future, ways for more people to get involved, ways to keep building from where we are now, which is not where we were, to where we want to be.
Yep. That's a good tee up right there, Dwight, man. You're getting good at this. But yeah, the main reason I came on today to use the platform with the podcast is I just want to rally the people around UC Davis football to say, okay, I think we need to have a yearly event. We need to have a day every year where we rally the troops together. We all get in a room and we talk about UC Davis football and where we got to go. And one thing I've noticed is if I can get in a room with people, they walk out of that room and they're like, man, I'm in, let's do it. I just haven't been able to get in front of everybody. I can't get everybody in one spot, and I can't get in front of them and tell them why this is important. And so, a lot of people have been trying to put together this event. So what I want to be able to hype up is on February 28th, right? 2026, February 28th at 5:00. We're going to have an event, and we are going to try to block out some hotel rooms for people. It's going to be $250 a person, right? We're finalizing all the details, but basically it's going to be 6 to 8 wineries are going to be there supplying wine for us to have a wine night. You can bring your significant other, and we can have a celebration of Aggie football. It's going to be in San Francisco at the Local Edition Bar in San Francisco on February 28th. And we're going to have a silent live auction, State of Aggie football. We're going to have some great former Aggies there to talk about Aggie football and why it's important. But it's a fundraising event, right? We want a signature event that we can celebrate Aggie football, raise funds for the program, and we just want people to hold that date. And this doesn't have to be people necessarily that played football at Davis. It doesn't have to be people that even went to Davis. We just want people that might want to invest in UC Davis football. And if you're around a group of people that would love to come do a wine event with some really high, obviously the viticulture department at Davis is state of the art. We got a bunch of former players and a bunch of people that are in that business. They're going to supply the wine. This is, world-renowned wineries and people that are going to supply some great stuff for that night to have a good time. And man, let's get 200 people in a room. Let's get 200 people in a room and let's talk about Aggie football. And if you're paying for that event, that money's going to UC Davis football as well. But it's going to be well worth it, man. That $250 is going to go to great food, great wine, great event, getting around your people again, talking about something we all really love. It's going to go to a good cause. There's a couple people that are really at the forefront of this. Joe Engler, who's a former UC Davis football player. He's the one that really came up with the idea. He's pushing for it. Thankful for him. Big dreams, Dave Holtman, who runs the tailgate for the wives out there every Saturday. Amy Hassan, AJ's mom, really helping a lot. Jay Weisbrod, who's been a guy that, again, didn't play football at Davis, but he's become a real big contributor to what we're trying to do. Mary Dixon, Mitch's mom. Kara Lewin, who's our works for the department for these events. She's doing a tremendous job. So a lot of people are putting a lot of time and effort to try to come up with one day we can get everybody together. So again, February 28th, 5 o'clock, local edition bar in San Francisco. We're going to have an event that celebrates Aggie football. We're going to try and raise a lot of money on that day and then figure out where we're headed and how we're going to get to catch up with those 4 or 5 teams. And I'm really excited to hopefully we can get, again, 200 people plus at that event on one day. And then every year we can make that a yearly day, a yearly event. We get together, drink some wine and talk some Aggie football and have a great night together. And if you want to get information, you can reach out to Josh Flushman. His email is jeflushman@ucdavis.edu, or reach out to the podcast and these guys can get you in touch with Josh. Give him his phone number. I don't want to get his phone number out on the live market here, but get in touch with Dwight and Brock and reach out and let's get a bunch of people there. If you know some people that love wine that aren't even attached to UC Davis football, but they want to come to the event, that's even better because we want some new blood, want some new people to get involved to help us get over the hump and get to where we got to get to.
You heard it first here, folks. Want folks to get involved. That's a great date, late February. Have time to plan. Coach talked about 200 folks in a room. Let's do more than that. Let's get a good problem to have of a wait list, where we have more folks than we have capacity for. But that sounds like a great event, and another stepping stone, Coach, to the build. And it's going to take everybody to do that. Coach, I have one question that has been on my mind for you. I've been hearing. First of all, shout out to the folks that do video production for like the post-game recaps.
Man, Coach, how good has that been? That's been way better. Like,
oh my gosh.
You know who's the most excited about that is Bobby Plough, my mom. All she does is every week, she's like, I don't know who does your guys' videos, but it's awesome. So if you've made my mom happy, then you've really gotten over a big hurdle. So that's a big deal.
Shout out to Coach Plough's mom. One thing I wanted to call out, Coach, is I remember you as my coach, and obviously that was a long time ago. And at that time, right, like I didn't get as much of an opportunity to have the Coach Plough pregame fire up speech, halftime comments, but those are always featured. Like clips of those are featured, and it gets me fired up. And like it's awesome to hear you kind of having found your inspirational voice. So I'm just curious about that progression for you as like, you know, in the head coach role, kind of having to find the right words. It's not just the words, it's backed up by what you do and how you move in practice and when you're not being recorded. But just talk to us a little bit about like that part of your identity as a coach and how you find the right words to get the group fired up, to get yourself fired up pregame and then at halftime when it's so key to make the right adjustments and go out for the third quarter. And we've seen how we played in some of these third quarters. And like I'm dependent now on the Jay Fish 50-yard plus run in the second play. So talk to us a little bit about that part of your development as a head coach and how you find your voice and get the guys fired up.
Well, I don't think a speech has ever won a football game. But I also think that, I'm a history English major from Davis, right? So that's right. I've always had the ability to get in front of a room and talk. When I was coaching you, Dwight, or around you guys, right, I really wasn't supposed to do that, right? I'm just kind of the new guy. I'm really the guy behind the closed door drawing up the plays and coming up with the game plans. But other than that, like everyone else is going to do the talking. Bob, Morosky, Bronson, and as they should, right? When I left Davis and I went to NAU, and it's like, hey, now it's all on you. One of the things I tried to do is say, hey, the most important thing for any offense or defense or team is there's got to be belief, right? Like they have to believe that it's possible. And what we've talked about this year is the next stage is you go from belief to knowing. Like, I know we're going to win. I don't believe we're going to win. Like, I know we're going to win. And so I've always felt like starting Monday all the way to Saturday, it's coming up with, well, how are we going to win this game? There's a theme to a game and the team you're going to play. Okay, well, for us to win this game this Saturday, we need to do these 3 things, right? And so I kind of start the week off by educating our guys and making it simple. If we want to win the game, we need to do these 3 things really well, right? And as the week goes on, we just keep repeating it and talking about it and repeating it and talk about it. And then, we get to Friday night and the fight night thing, that's definitely more of a show. Like I want to get the guys excited, tie the fight into the game and get them walking out of that room feeling really great. I want them putting their head on the pillow with belief. Like, man, we're going to win this game. We're going to play really well tomorrow. And then, before the game, you're just hitting the same things you talked about all week, adding a little more flavor to it. And then at halftime, okay, what have we done well? We've talked about this. We agreed upon this. Hey, we're not doing this well. We got to get this fixed. Or, hey, we're doing a great job with this. We got to keep it going and try to simplify it out for the guys because football can seem daunting, but it's actually really simple in the sense of if you do these things we've talked about, you'll be successful. And as Coach Pete, always told me, it was like, just because something's simple does not mean it's easy, right? It's still going to be difficult, but it's simple in the fact like, okay, these are the things we have to do. So we try to lay those things out. And, man, I just learned when I went to NAU and the places I've been, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be inherently myself and honest all the time. And so I care about this. I'm emotional about it. It matters to me. I'm not going to hide that from, my team. I want them to see how much it matters to me. So if they see how much it matters to me, then they see I'm real about it. That'll help them connect to me, right? And so, yeah, when I'm talking before the team down south, before that game, yeah, I'm going to be a little more emotional because I want to win that game. That game means a lot to me. And so I'm going to always be myself, speak from the heart. Sometimes it comes out great. Sometimes it doesn't. The video people do a good job catching the things that sound good, I guess. But the one thing I think they can feel is that I really care and it matters to me. And but I think it's a theme from Monday to Saturday. This is how we're going to win and try to lay that out early and then keep hitting those points.
You mentioned the video people. I've shared this on the pod. Geeking out over video stuff a little bit lately. A director directs the crew on what they're supposed to do. And as I learned, you can be like an assertive director, someone who is setting the scenes far before they even occur, or you can be like assumptive or reactive. And to hear you talk about setting the week out with intention from the very first meeting of the week all the way through fight nights and game day, I want to take us somewhere a little bit different. You've talked about wanting our program to get at the level of the Dakotas and the Montanas, I guess, to be probably, and then Tarleton's been pretty legit this year, but I would say
No
we're
doubt.
right there with them.
Scary team.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of dudes. We've had this chance to like meet so many people around the program, probably like yourself or maybe more so for us. Like we didn't know there were these people who were so supportive, who didn't even play, who maybe some of them didn't even go to Davis. Most of them did. And they've just come alongside the podcast, come alongside the team, and it's amazing. But like you said, we need more. And I think this question is meaty, but I want to try to tie it up in this. So you're 16-4 so far in 2 years at Davis, 80% winning percentage, like probably tops in school history, if we just call it a day. When you're 16-4 in a year and a half, you get connected with stuff. And this past week, you got connected with Oregon State. And you've also said like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not like I came here. I could make more money elsewhere. Oregon State is still in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 is not the same as it used to be. Cal and Stanford have struggled in some ways. We have like accented to use that phrase. Like we have really started to level up where I said it last
The
year.
hawkism. That's a hawkism.
That's right. I said it
Yeah.
last year when I'm watching that game against Cal. I told Bobby and Dwight, I'm like, we are right there, man. Like we can easily win this game. Like we are not way worse than Cal right now. Maybe I'm just homer excited. Where do you kind of see us in the scheme of like West Coast college football? And how do you even like when you hear, oh, I'm connected with Oregon State, in some ways that legitimizes what you've done and where we're at. But how do you kind of speak to that? And I will say, these are questions that big school coaches get. Like, hey, you're connected with
Sure.
this job. And I feel like at Davis, we don't have a lot of the times the media who ask these questions. So maybe it's a little annoying, but like, speak to Oregon State, speak to where we're at in the scheme of West Coast football in the modern day and age of NIL and all the shifting conferences.
With over 55 years of experience helping families and businesses navigate life's legal twists and turns, the law firm of Bold, Posner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson is a proud partner of the Aggie Pride podcast. Whether you're starting a family, managing your assets, or facing the loss of a loved one, BPMNJ is there to guide you through some of life's toughest transitions with clarity, compassion, and care. They assist clients with estate planning and also support families dealing with incapacity, elder law, probate and trust administration, conservatorships, and civil litigation. The firm is managed by Craig Judson and his son, Scott Judson, former Aggie Pack MC and past president of the Cal Aggie Alumni Association. With offices in Walnut Creek and Sacramento, BPMNJ serves clients throughout California, bringing trusted legal guidance wherever it's needed. And here's something special for our listeners. Mention this podcast when you book your free consultation at bpmnj.com, and you'll receive $500 off a comprehensive estate plan. Bold, Posner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson. Powered by Aggie Pride.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Next Level Sports, delivering the best youth sports experience. If you have a young, aspiring athlete in 1st through 7th grade, this is your chance to get on the field with Next Level flag football at UC Davis. All teams are coached by a current UC Davis Aggies football player, giving kids real mentorship from the same student athletes who practice and play on the same field within the Aggies football program. All activity takes place at UC Davis Health Stadium, so you get the full game day experience every week. Whether your participant is brand new to the sport or already obsessed with football, Next Level focuses on skill building, teamwork, and growth. It's an incredible way to build confidence, make friends, and learn from true role models. Registration for the 2026 Next Level spring flag football and winter volleyball seasons at UC Davis are now open. Spots are going fast, so sign up today at nextlevelsports.com. Give your athlete the best youth sports experience. Join the Cal Aggie Alumni Association to connect with Aggies across the globe. Members of CAAA enjoy trips, networking opportunities, VIP invites to events, and access to dozens of discounts. Sign up at alumni.ucdavis.edu/membership.
Aggie Pride is proud to partner with JG Graphics in Rancho Cordova, the spot for custom apparel, embroidery, and printing. Aggie alum Pete Povey and his team helped us design and produce our Aggie Pride hats, and the quality is next level. If you need gear for your business, team, or next big event, Pete will take care of you from first idea to final stitch. Support a fellow Aggie and check them out at jg.graphics or visit their shop in Rancho Cordova.
Yep. Well, I'd start with the job stuff. I figured you guys would ask about this. And it's funny. I got I read something this morning as I was trying to figure out how I would explain this to someone. Cause yeah, I mean, every single year that we have success, I talk to the staff, talk to the team about this when stuff pops up. I've been here a year and a half, and full transparency, there's been 6 jobs that they've reached out to me and hey, you interested? You want this job? And I would say 90% of the people in my position would take those jobs, right? They would. The amount of money that you're going to get paid is going to quadruple, sometimes quintuple the amount of money you're making at a place like Davis, right? And it's crazy not to think about it, right? It's crazy for people not to go, oh my gosh, if I make that much money for 5 years, like you can fire me and I'm still going to be good for the rest of my life, right? So the money part is a real thing. But the way that it popped up to me today that I felt like is the best way for me to explain this is they talk about like a ship and how the sails versus the anchor, right? And like what is going to anchor you and what is going to be the sails. And I hope this doesn't get too confusing, but the way it made sense to me was, well, what sends the ship moving is what you put behind your sails, what type of wind you're going to put behind it and how you direct your ship, right? And man, that's all these jobs, that's all these career opportunities, that's all the money you're going to get. That might take your sails into this direction. But what is the anchor? You got to remember what the anchor is. The anchor is my wife and my kids, right? And I'm not going to sacrifice a voyage on a ship and just completely pull up the anchor if that anchor isn't tied in together with where this ship's going to go. You know, I'm never going to sacrifice the anchor of my life ever again. And my wife and kids are the most important thing. And when it comes to jobs like that, personally, would I be fulfilled if they paid me that much money and you can go coach in the college football playoff or whatever and these type of things? Sure. Like those are things as a personal, like man, that's trying to push yourself to be the best. Everybody wants to coach in those games, right? But the anchor is my wife and my kids. And honestly, the other anchor is UC Davis. Like what's best for UC Davis is what's going to be best for me and my wife and kids as well. And so I'm flattered that people reach out every year. That means that we're doing a really good job. It's super irresponsible for me to say that I'm going to be here the rest of my life because you just don't know what happens in the coaching worlds, right? But my statement that I made when I got here, I really believe is that I'm going to be here a long time, right? And I'm going to be here a long time because I need to get the program to a place where I feel like I made an impact and I can say that we came here and we got this accomplished and you guys know what I want to get accomplished. And until we get that accomplished, it would not feel right for me to leave after 2 years or 3 years and be like, I'm out of here, guys. See you later. That would just, again, for the type of person I am and what I stand for, what I'm teaching my sons, that would just go against a lot of the stuff that I've said publicly and what I believe in. And so I just feel like we have so much to get accomplished here and it's going to take time. Am I going to feel like we've gotten this place to a good spot and it's time for me to move on? And okay, it makes sense to make that move. Maybe that'll happen at some point, right? I'm 40 years old though. I mean, I'm going to coach for 20 years. So, I mean, there's a lot of time here to think about where am I going to be in 10 years or 15 years? And those are the kind of the things that I think about in regards to my own personal career. But there's never going to be a move where the anchor doesn't tie in with the voyage. You know, if I'm going to pull up anchor and go on a voyage with my family, then they're going to agree to it. Like we're going to all be on the same page. And no disrespect to some of the schools that you've mentioned, but I'm not pulling up an anchor to go to those places. Because going back to the other part of the question, which is what does college football look like right now? Well, you guys have seen what it looks like, right? We played Washington this year. They have a $30 million NIL payroll, and we had no business being on the field with that team, right? And we're pulling our guys out in the second quarter, and we're just trying to get out of the game. In my opinion, there are 25 to 30 teams that operate with a budget, an NIL, a marketing, and they are playing a completely different style of football. And those are the 25, 30 teams that can get to the college football playoff and win it. And as many of these teams right now, SEC, Big Ten, that, hey, I wonder who's going to make it. We all know who's going to make it. It's going to be the same 8 teams every year with maybe 1 or 2 surprises of teams in that 25 to 30. If you're not part of that 25 to 30, you are all the same. There is no difference between Montana State and Oregon State. There's no difference between UC Davis and New Mexico, right? And that's no disrespect to those teams. Those are good programs. It's just, to me, there's no difference. So from you personally, you have to make a decision. Which of those 150 other teams do I feel like I can be the most successful at? And for me, it's Davis, right? Like I know how to build Davis and to help Davis be successful. If I just go from Davis to one of the other 150 teams that are all below that 30 teams, well, now I'm in the same exact spot I was before, I might be getting paid more money, so my personal bank account will be in a better spot, but I won't be in a better spot professionally. My team won't be as good, and now I'm going to be losing games hand over fist, right? And so I think for me, I think you can build Davis to be one of the best of those teams that aren't in the 25 to 30 teams. And at some point, I think the college football world's going to actually splinter. My guess would be those 25, 30, 40 teams are going to go start their own league anyway, right? And so if you move right now and go somewhere else, that whole landscape could look way different in 3 years. You might go somewhere, and then 3 years from now, that place looks completely different. Or maybe you leave Davis, and in 3 years, Davis is in the same conference as the team you just went to. And so now it's like, what? Those things just, to me, big picture, let's all sit back. Let's take a deep breath, right? You got to talk to, there's a lot of people around me that think I'm crazy, right? You're talking about your agents or even your friends that are like, what in the hell are you doing? Like, this is life-changing money. And it's like, yeah, I get it, but you got to see it from the big picture of me, which is Davis is going to be in a really, really special place in the next 5 to 7 to 10 years, right? And so without knowing what everybody else is going to do, I like where we're positioned. I like our spot. We recruit against a lot of those teams, and we get those recruits because they can see what we see, which is if I'm not getting recruited by the Washingtons and the Oregons and the USCs, then why would I not go to Davis? Why would I go to Nevada or Colorado State or Fresno State or San Diego State when in reality, we have more people coming to our home games. We have better teams. If we played them on a neutral field tomorrow, we'd be favored. I mean, those jobs might pay you more money because they're FBS jobs, but the team and the situation you have here is way more geared up to be successful. And so for me, that's how I view Davis right now. That's how I viewed it when I left Cal. And I think all it's proven to me in the 20 games, like you said, that I've coached here is that, man, you can win here and you can build this into a special place. It's going to take time, but for me, my focus is I've told our staff and players this, like, the guys around us might leave. Other staff members might need to leave to go do that, right? And I don't knock them. Some of our players might have to leave to go do that. I don't knock them, right? Everyone's got their own personal journey. Me personally, I've got to win a national championship at Davis. Like, I've stamped it into my life. It's on my heart. It means a lot to me. And until I can get to that game and win that game and hand that trophy to Bob Biggs and Donna Soker and Lou Bronson and Dan Hawkins and all these people that have been a big part of the Davis journey, until I can hand that to them and say, we did it, we accomplished it, I won't feel like I got this place to where it needs to be. And so I'm solely focused on that. I know the people around me might change. Yeah. And as it should. That means, again, we're having success. But to me, right now, 2025, this is the place for me. And this is where I want to be. And I think we can do special things here. And if I were to bounce after 2 or 3 years, then we'd be in a really bad spot. Not because of me, but because they've invested a lot in me. And I don't want to do that to the program that I care the most about. I don't want to do that to my anchor, right? If I pull the anchor up, then I want to make sure that it's well taken care of and it makes sense and it's in a good spot.
Yeah. I think of really well said, for one. I feel like that should be clipped for a lot of different people in a lot of different professions too. There's so many different lessons in that. You talk about anchor. I think of the word like grounded, having like a foundation, having something that's firm, that's reliable, that's steadfast. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting to ask the question, but we just try to listen to what people say and see where conversations are going. And also it did feel like something, you know what? No, we should address this. I don't want that for you, coach. I don't know where you're at with it, in all honesty. And so it's a little dicey from our end, but I can only imagine like the difficulty. I mean, Dwight and I have sat in living rooms with our family and our wives, like trying to figure out our own professional careers and like, oh, we could take this job and it makes more money, but then I'm going to have to work in San Francisco and drive and commute. There's all the things, right? And so just want to empathize with you and just say that, like, a lot of respect for the thought process behind the decision making, because I think that actually shares like the heart and where the heart is at. And we've all seen head coaches at the college level, sometimes at very large schools, say, I'm not going anywhere. And then they go somewhere.
Right.
And that's why it's like, I know it's a possibility because I think sometimes people say they don't want to do something and then they do because situations change and whatnot. And so just want to like say from Dwight and I, man, so much respect for the decision making, the thought process, the heart behind it, and the honesty with us, like with our audience, which I think says a lot. I do want to touch on the season before we go into the kind of user submitted questions. And it's not because we don't want to discount the season. I mean, we're 5-1, could be 6-1, undefeated against FCS, have dealt with tons of adversity, as we know, and have just kind of invented new ways of adapting and next man up and all the isms. But a team that feels like it's really improving too, which is something that we've talked about. Good teams at all levels of football might be A at the beginning of the season, but they get to Z and they just keep steadily improving. So just open thoughts on the season thus far, like things that stand out to you, things that you want our listeners to know about this team.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe in Aggie pride and you're invested in it, and you love UC Davis football, I don't know how you don't love this team. And as successful as last year's team was, and I still would say maybe the most successful team, definitely the Division I era, right? But that team also didn't have to face what this team has faced. I mean, we got before the Cal Poly week, we sat down as a staff and we basically said we've lost 5 All-Americans for the season, and 13 players total to season-ending injuries of guys that are playing in games, and they're not going to cancel the season. Like, there's going to be a game this Saturday, and I'm not quitting. Like, I'm not going to stop the season. We've got to figure out how we're going to win each game by itself, and for us to figure that out, the staff deserves so much credit. I mean, the way they've been able to come together and say, okay, we're down these many guys, especially on defense, and how do we tie in the offense and special teams to help counter what's going on with our defense in regards to injuries, and how do we go to this game and figure out a way to win that, and what do these teams do well? How can we get enough points to get in front of a team, or hang on, how are we going to score points, right, with the guys that we're missing, and who's going to step up, and can this guy fill in that role, or do we have to put in this guy and then change what we're doing to make it successful around him? And then from a player's standpoint, can they have the belief and faith that we can do this without these players? Like, we can still win games, we can still be successful if we buy into all this together. So I believe we're 6-1 because there's been 7 games, and 6 of them, when the game ended, we had more points than the other team. And until they grant the Twins their game back so they can get a year back, I'm going to say, if you're not going to give them the year back, then you're going to give us the win. So I'm going to count us as 6-1 until the NCAA can do the right thing by the Twins. But we've had 7 games, and 6 of them we've ended with the lead. And in my opinion, what this team is doing right now is so difficult. We're on a razor's edge. We're going to every game. We're not the better team now with the amount of guys we've had out, but we, from a talent standpoint, might not be the better team, but we're playing like the better team because we're playing together. We're playing complementary football. All 3 phases have had their moments of success. All 3 phases have had their moments of negativity. And it's like, man, can we overcome that? And can we get through that? And all they've done is found ways to get that done. And so as we get into these final 5 games, there's no cakewalks. Every game for us the rest of the year is going to be so difficult because of the roster numbers and how we're down. We can't even take the allotted number of people to travel to the game this weekend. I mean, we don't even have enough healthy people to take the number we can fit on the plane. So we got open seats for anyone that wants to travel with us because we don't have enough players to bring anyway. So it's just one of those years where the injuries stack up, they mount up. The next guy steps in. The staff does a good job figuring out the plan for that, and how they. You guys, I don't, if you've coached and you sit in these meetings and it's defense talking to the offense, talking to the special teams on like, well, which 11 guys can we even use on the punt return unit? because we can't use this guy, because if we use this guy, he's got GPS numbers are too high on one side of the ball because he can't come out of the game. So now we got to use a guy that hasn't played before. Can he get that done? Or what are we going to change in the punt return unit so that we can get it done? Okay, offensively, right? We want to go tempo. All right, how can we use that without being out there, too quickly so that our guys can be rested? Okay, defensively, we've got to get off the field. What can we do with the 11 guys that we can deploy to play good defense? I mean, there's just a lot of discussions that happen week to week within the staff and week to week with who you're playing. But that is so fun. Like, I can't even explain to you guys how much fun that is to try to design a way to win a game that on paper is going to be very difficult. And every game since game 3 or 4 has been that way for us. And so I'm super proud of the players and the staff for keeping a neutral mindset and just attacking every game for one moment and figuring out ways to come out. And, we talked about just taking it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one opponent at a time, and see if we can continue to find ways to win. And all these guys have proven is that they can. So I'm extremely motivated to try and keep that going for these guys and see how long we can take it, even though these next 5 weeks are going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
Yeah. Whew, just taking a deep breath after that one, Coach. And just to circle back, and I want to take us to the user submitted questions, because there's one that I think really plugs into what you just shared. But before we do that, I wanted to echo Brock's appreciation for your answer to the previous question. Just the analogy of the sails and the anchor hits me in a certain place, and I think your response and everything we know about you from you having coached us, and now you being in this role of leading the program, connects perfectly the puzzle pieces to what you said. So just really want to appreciate that as a father, as a husband, as someone that's accountable to other people in my life, and as someone that has goals and dreams and aspirations of my own. The way you articulated that and just your thought process there, I really appreciate. So
I think, like, just to go back to that, we all just have to be real. We have to be honest. We have to be okay having those conversations, because it's a real thing. Like, it matters. Like, it comes up, and I hope it comes up every year, because it means that we're having success. They're not going to be calling our staff or trying to take our players or try to call me if we're not having success. So I think it's a positive thing for us. But at the end of the day, like, again, it's super irresponsible for me to say I'm going to be here for the rest of my life, because I don't know what next year looks like. I don't know what the next 10 years looks like. And again, one of the things I would pair with that is, if at any point I feel like Davis is not aligning with trying to win a national championship, like at any point, if I feel like, they're giving up, or they don't think we can do it, or they're not supporting me or us the way we got, well, then that changes things too. But nothing has shown me that that's happening. Like I said, if anything, we've gotten better than where I was when we got here a year and a half ago. And as long as that continues to improve and people are just as aligned as I am to getting that done, then I'm not going to let people like that down. I'm going to try to get that accomplished. And it's not just something I want to accomplish, right? My wife wants to accomplish that. My boys want to accomplish, like, we all want to get that done. And that's the anchor I'm talking about. Like, if I were just to come home one day and be like, hey guys, we're headed to such and such a place, and guess what? They're going to pay me $10 million over the next 5 years. And that's going to be awesome, because I'm going to be able to get you guys a big house, and we're going to be able to pay for private schools and, whatever that is. It's like, they would look at me like I'm crazy, because that's not what we talk about in our house ever. So now you're going to start judging it off of that. Like, it just, and I'm thankful for the experiences I've had at other places, because it really taught me that. It taught me, like, hey, this, as cool as this might be, that stuff goes away really fast. What doesn't go away is the legacy you leave and the things that you say. And if I'm going to raise 3 young men, like, my word's going to matter. And I hope that we can get this accomplished. But again, I know we can. That's the difference. I don't just believe we can. I know we can. And that's why those events, like the one in February, and trying to get more people involved. Like, I don't give any money to Davis. It's like, you could give $100 a month, and that would be incredible for us. Like, a little bit goes a long, long way. And all it takes is a couple hundred people to go, you know what? let's help plow out. Let's help these guys out. Let's help get this done. Or it might take 3 or 4 people that can give a huge amount of money. And they're like, you know what? I buy into what we're trying to do. Let's get that done. And that's literally all it would take. All it would take is for us to get to a point where we were on the same playing field off the field with those 4 or 5 teams we're talking about. And I promise you, if the playing field is equal off the field, we will surpass them on the field, right? When we beat Montana last year on the road and everyone was like, that's unbelievable, great win. I'm thinking, do you know how hard that win is? You know how much more prepared they are off the field than we are? And yet we go into their place on ESPN at night and smoke them? Like, that is a crazy situation by the staff and the players and the administration to get that done. Imagine what it would look like if we were on an even playing field with them off the field, right? And so it's like, all we got to do is get that done. And it's simple. It's so simple. But as I've learned in a year and a half, it is not easy. It is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And but that's the challenge, man. That's the thing that gets me up every day is like, if that's the hardest thing I have to do, I can do that. I know I can do it, right? And so that's what gets me up in the morning is trying to get that equal playing field off the field so that when we play those teams, it feels like a fair fight.
Yeah. And you know, just to tie it back, it's about the belief, right? You talked about like building that belief on Monday or Sunday and having it go through to game day. And I think it's the same thing with this. And you're staying on message, and it's not just you. There's a lot of people behind you. And I think all these steps are building that belief with a larger base of people that we can get to the last game of the season. We can win the last game of the season, and we can build this program to be something that it hasn't been in the past. And so,
I mean, how sweet will that be? I mean, how awesome will that feel? I mean, that will be like the greatest feeling in the world. And it won't just be me or the 100 players. Like, it'll be thousands of people that will feel that. And if you're one of those thousands of people that would feel joy if we won that last game and you're not helping us win the last game, then why would you not help us? Like, why would you not want to be a part of that from a small amount to a large amount? Like, that's what it's going to feel like. It'll feel like we all did that together. And that feeling, like that feeling of joy that I know is out there, that's what we're after. Like, we're seeking that on a daily basis, you know. And when we get, I just imagine how awesome that's going to be, you know. Like, I just cannot wait for that to happen. And I know it's going to be a while probably, but we're going to get there, you know. And like I said, right now we're in the middle of a season, so maybe this is the year, you know. So I'm going to keep working hard and try and get it done this year. And if it's not this year, okay, we'll try again next year. We're going to keep trying until we get that done.
Yeah. Love it. Shifting back to kind of your answer to Brock's question about the season, and you said it's like something that should fire up the Aggie pride embers within all the people listening, what this team has overcome and how we move from day to day, week to week. Looking at some of the questions that people submitted, my boy, is that C-Dub, Courtney Williams, a special place in my heart, a Blue Devil and an Aggie. Played with my brothers at Davis High, played for the Aggies, a great running back. He has a great question, Coach. Courtney says, could you describe the culture of leadership in the locker room? Who has emerged? And we think about the injuries and all the dynamics, and who stayed consistent, right, as those pillars of leadership in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, our leadership council consists of 7 guys. I would say those are the leaders of the team. You got the twins, the Connors twins. You got Mitch Dixon. You got Nava, Sam Batu, Jaden Stanley, and Grant Harper, right? So when I think of like this team, this 2025 team, it's those 7 guys, right? It's their team. Like, they're the ones that lead it. Connors twins both out, Nava out, Grant's the backup quarterback, right? So if that shows you what Aggie pride is, like, these guys are still leading at a high level and they can't even contribute on the field every week. But the leader of this team is Mitch Dixon, right? It's his team. Like, it's his team. He's the voice. He's the consistent day in and day out guy that plays with Aggie pride. And you think about, he's not a guy getting all the accolades. He's not a guy getting all the stats. He may not get any recognition when the season's over, but I hope his legacy is that he's one of the greatest leaders in the history of Davis football for what he has done for this team, what he's done for me. I feel very connected to Mitch. It's really his team, man. He leads these guys every single day. What the Connors twins have done with what they've had to endure, and for them to bounce back and be the great leaders that they've been speaks a lot to those guys. What Grant Harper's had to endure, and for him to still be a leader every single day and come to work and help grow Caden and help lead Caden and lead the offense. Jaden Stanley, who's been in the shadows of great players, and now Rex is out, and so now Jaden's up, and he's got 12,000 yards a week on the GPS, breaking records for how much he's playing every single game, and what he's getting done on the field and off the field as a leader. When we had a couple of guys get hurt, and Rex can't walk out there for the coin toss, he's getting knee surgery, and so the leadership council comes to me and they're like, hey, we need to put a C on Jaden Stanley's jersey. Like, he needs to walk out with us. This guy's Aggie pride. So then Ari stitches that C on his jersey, and the tears in Jaden's eyes when the team announced that to him, like, hey, man, not only are you on the leadership council, but you're a captain. You're walking out for the coin toss every week. Like, that's Aggie pride, man. That's what those guys play with. So you just see it. I think about the Cal Poly game. We're playing without the twins. First play, Jackson Severs is playing for Porter and smokes the tailback on the first play. Like, we're going to be fine, guys. Don't worry about it. I got this. And the next play, they throw a ball to the tailback, and Jaden Stanley smokes him just like Rex would have done. Like, we're going to be fine, guys. We got this. I thought that was just like a huge Aggie pride moment. Like, we're going to be all right. We got guys in this room that can get this done, and they're speaking with their pads. They're speaking with their leadership. They're speaking with how they work every single day. That's the only reason we've been able to stay afloat with the adversity that we've faced, is the guys that just come to work every day. They stay consistent, they believe, and they demand it out of their teammates, and that's what kept us going.
Yeah, when we think about the adversity, it's an opportunity. We say that sometimes, like, oh, well, something bad happens, some failure happens. In some cases, like, it's an opportunity for how we respond. Sounds like a lot of dudes making the most of that. And even just thinking about the overall talent, like you told me preseason, you told a lot of people, most talented team maybe ever. And that is the positive of having injuries. You have guys on the depth
No
chart,
doubt.
even the safety DBs, the DB room's been just shattered by injuries. And it's like, well, there was a lot of dudes in that room who were really good
Yeah.
at the corner and safety position. And then we think about the offensive side of the ball, which has been super fun to watch. The running back room, the receivers, all the explosiveness everywhere. The O-line steadily kind of improving, getting better, now having another setback with injury. But the guy we haven't talked about yet, which is kind of crazy because he's back to back to back Big Sky Offensive Player of the Week, which I think is only the second time ever. And you guys put something out. It's only the first time it's been Big Sky opponents each week, is Caden Pinnick. And we have a question from Todd Shaner, and he says, Caden Pinnick is getting a lot of awards. I've seen articles that have him as the front runner for the Jerry Rice. What are your thoughts on that? And how do we keep him in the program?
Yep. Yeah, Caden is obviously really starting to get into a good rhythm with what it takes to play the position at a high level. I'm extremely hard on Caden, probably too hard, to be honest. But, Miles and Jake, Case Cookus at NAU, Fernando Mendoza at Cal, Hank Bachmeyer, like, these guys would tell you, I'm not treating Caden any differently than these other guys. I believe there's a way the quarterback is supposed to be coached. I believe there's a way the quarterback is supposed to play. And Caden is extremely frustrating because he can do things outside of the realm of coaching. And so I know that can lead to inconsistencies, and yet he continues to overcome them with his talent and make things happen. What's happened the last couple weeks is he started to remove those poor decisions and inconsistent play. Slowly he's getting those out of his game, and that's leading to a really exciting product that he's able to do on a day in, day out basis. And we knew that was going to happen, right? We knew his best football was going to be the last couple of games, not the first couple of games. But the reason we felt really good about him being the starter is nobody outworks Caden Pinnick. Caden Pinnick has outworked everybody his entire life. From the way his mom Heidi raised him until every single day of him taking the train over here to learn the offense before he even showed up on campus. This guy is a worker. He wants to be great. He wants to do things the right way. And I think he has shown to be, again, one of, if not one of the more talented guys we've ever had at the position. So he's really exciting to coach. And I coach him really hard, and Shelton gets to probably put his arm around him and when big bad Plough gets on him. But I think Coach Shelton deserves all the credit for Caden's development. He meets with Caden much more than I do, and has worked with Caden to become more consistent as a passer and play from the pocket, and then use his legs when he needs to, and take care of his body, not take those hits, and take care of the football. If Caden continues to grow and play those ways, he gives us an opportunity to win every game. And I'm so proud of him, because what he's had to live against, you're following one of the greatest to ever play here. You're playing as a redshirt freshman, brutal schedule to start the year. And he's answered every bell. He's answered every call, and he's got belief in himself. He's got great confidence, and I think his work ethic speaks for it. As for keeping guys, I mean, he'll have the same thought that I just went through with you guys about me. He's going to have a decision at some point about what is his anchor, and what's going to push his sales, and what does that look like for him? And I'm really proud of the fact that we have players that people want to pay and go play somewhere else. That means we have good players. What I would tell guys like Caden or anybody else is, if you're going to leave Davis to take the big payday and go somewhere else, do you feel like you've gotten everything you need from us from a development standpoint? Because I would hope that the guys that leave here allow us to develop them to become the best version of them before they leave. And if you don't feel like you've been developed to your maximum, then I would really encourage guys to allow that process to take place, because that money's not going to go anywhere. He's a redshirt freshman. Whatever people are going to offer him this year, they're going to offer him twice that the year after, or 3 times that the year after. But he has to decide if he feels like he's gotten the development he needs to become the player he can be. And one of the big things I tell our guys, part of that is getting your degree. I mean, do you really want to leave Davis and not get the degree? Because when football ends, which most of us, it's going to end in college, that degree is going to help you for the rest of your life. And so I encourage guys, hey, if you think down the road you might be finishing your career somewhere else, man, I hope you get all the development from Coach Burke and our staff so that you can become the best player that you could possibly be. Because when you go to the other places, they're not going to develop you. They don't care about development. They care about results. They're paying you for a reason. So you're showing up, they're not going to coach you or develop you. You're showing up there and you better win, because we're paying you this much money. And so you better feel like you've been developed to the nth degree of what you need to be. But I also hope you feel like you got developed off the field and got your degree and you're set up for the rest of your life. And guys like Teddy did that. Guys like Kavir did that. Guys like McAllen Castles did that. Jordan Perryman did that, right? So these guys all took care of that before they left. And I still stick to, I hope that's the case. But every player that we get, that we recruit and develop, if they leave and take a bunch of money, all it does is help me recruit the next great player, because I can tell them, look, all we do is develop players and they end up getting paid millions of dollars to go play somewhere else. That's fine, right? Like I'll go recruit the next guy and develop him. That'll help us keep getting great high school players, which is going to be the foundation of our team. But I would hope, again, if it's those 25 to 30 teams that are operating at a different budget and they're playing at different level, and you feel like you're going to go there and you're going to play and it makes sense. Guys like Lan and Rex could have done that too. And they felt like they weren't going to sacrifice the development and the experience they were going to have here. Still worked out for Lan. He's still a New England Patriot. It's going to work out for Rex, whether he comes back next year or goes to the NFL or however that plays out for him. And it worked out for Teddy. He got his degree. He played 4 years here, and he got to play 1 year and get paid and go to the NFL. But when his time in, I always tell people this, when he got done playing at Cal and he's getting ready for the next level, for the next couple months, for pro days and all that, where do you think he trained? He was right here with us, right? And so, like, where did McAllen Castles just buy a house, right? He bought it here because he's going to train here in the offseason. Right. And so, like, these guys know where the development really comes from, where the coaching comes from. And I think if you honor that the right way, if you take care of Davis, Davis will take care of you. So I don't lose sleep over, oh gosh, I wonder if Caden's going to be here. I value the time I have with him. I find joy in every moment I get to coach that young man. And I hope I get to coach him for a bunch of years, because I feel like he's just scratching the surface of what he can be. And I know our ability to develop specifically the quarterback position, that if you give us ample time to develop you, you will become one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And no one develops quarterbacks better than UC Davis. And so I think he knows that. And so I'm excited to watch him the next 5 weeks. I think he's only going to get better, and I'm still going to coach him hard. He's still going to frustrate the hell out of me. Jake Mayer's going to send me those text messages on Sunday, Monday, like, man, how mad were you when he did this? Because he knows, when he sees it. We had a drive against Cal Poly. The last drive where he scores the rushing touchdown, we ran 4 plays incorrectly in a row. We had guys running the wrong routes. He's making the wrong reads. We're not protecting it correctly. And he goes 4 straight explosive plays and then scores. And I literally took my headset off and threw it against the bench. I was so upset. I was so angry. And the offensive staff didn't know whether to celebrate or not, because they were so mad that I was going to be mad at them. But that's a good example. Like, I don't care about the results. Like, I want it done a certain way because I care about Caden. And I want him to become the best freaking quarterback ever. And so he'll throw the touchdown pass he threw to Sam Batu on the deep over route at home last week. Great throw. He was late. So he threw the touchdown pass. Everyone's celebrating him. I grabbed him. I said, "You're late, man. You can't be late. You got to be on time when you make that throw." Right. And so those are the same things I would tell the other guys when they played for me, because I'm going to always coach him. I'm proud of him. I love him, but I'm not going to be easy on him. I want him to be the best he can be. And I think most quarterbacks know if you want to be the best, this is a place you can be the best.
Coach, it's breathtaking to watch him. And as fans, it's a much different experience than as his coach. Like, the drive you're talking about against Cal Poly, Dwight and I are in the end zone. Dwight's finally back from his month-long Ethiopia trip. It's his first time seeing our team in person. And he's like on cloud 9. And we're just like, dude, he just takes off 3 straight plays. It's incredible. And then he gets hit 5 yards into the end zone and just gives that guy some. And he was about the business that night.
Yeah.
Like, just he's not playing around. He was so dead serious. He was just looking at dudes. And so for us, we're like, man, this is just awesome. And as a non-quarterback, like when you have a quarterback who's kind of gritty like that,
yeah, you love it.
Who like he'll get in like the Oklahoma drill and like pop a dude. I mean, that fires you up as a D lineman, as a safety, as a whatever. And so it's not the same level of frustration for us. And then the other thing is like the efficiency the last couple of weeks. I mean, that just speaks for itself. To be that efficient, 25 to 29 or something crazy last week, just doesn't happen all that often. I think he's up to like 70% on the year. So freshman quarterback to be that efficient, especially with some of those early season games, the Washington games, some of those that you can kind of just throw out. So really fun from our standpoint, but we know it's getting close to Little League time. We do need to shift our attention to an opponent that we both watched last night that was very explosive on offense, had some physical guys on defense. I'm sure present another tough opponent for you. You've talked about Coach Lamb, and this seems like the year where like his fingerprints are really starting to take their effect on the team. So you go to an away game environment that can be tough because it's not as exciting, quote unquote, against a team that's got a chip on their shoulder. Tell us about Northern Colorado, the prep, and what your expectations are for this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know how good of a coach Ed Lamb is, I mean, how can you not ignore what he's done in just a year with those guys? I mean, that is, again, I know I speak a lot about how much I love Ed Lamb, but I mean, what a great coaching job they're doing. They really could have 5 or 6 wins right now. Could have beat Colorado State. Could have beat South Dakota. We know how hard it is to win in South Dakota. Last night, they're playing the team across the causeway, which we know how talented they are and how difficult they can be. And they're right there with them at the end of the game. So this is a very difficult team. They're playing way better on offense. They're scoring a lot of points. Their quarterback's playing well. They got some great skill players on the perimeter. Their running backs are running hard. They don't turn the ball over very often. That's what got them last night is they turned it over, which they rarely do. Their defense is salty, just like an Ed Lamb defense. They don't miss tackles. They're very sound. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're good on special teams. This is a really, really good football team. And to win games on the road in the Big Sky is so difficult. So we have our hands full. I'm thankful that we got the bye and 2 weeks to prepare for a really good team. You know, we take a lot of pride in playing well after bye weeks. We've had 3 in my year and a half here, and we've performed well after bye weeks. And so I know when I became a head coach, one of the things I always talked about, you know, just stuff I wrote down for myself is, man, I want to be a great team at home. Like I want to win home games. That's what good teams do. And I want to play really well after bye weeks. You know, the head coaches that I admire, they always play well after bye weeks. Their teams are always prepared. They win their home games. And so I personally take a lot of pride, and I push our staff like we need to play well off of byes. I talked about our team. So we're going to need everything we can to figure out a way to beat this team on the road because they are extremely talented. I think they can beat anybody in the conference as they've proven. And they had 2 really difficult road trips back to back, and now they get to come home. So I think they're going to be extremely, extremely ready to play in a difficult opponent. So just like I was telling you guys, every week, this next 5 weeks is going to be really, really difficult for us. But we got to focus on us. We got to play our best football, complementary football, play together, be the most physical team, be the smartest team. And whether it's 3-2 or 199, like figuring out a way to get back on the plane with a win. And we're excited to get back out there and play the game, but they're going to be a great opponent. And I love coaching against great coaches like Ed, and testing ourselves to see how good we can play. But this will be a great game.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of tough games coming up. Second half of the schedule's loaded with difficult opponents. But that's just kind of life in the Big Sky. I think
Yeah.
Miles Hastings was on at the beginning of the season, and he was like, you got to bring it every week in the Big Sky or you'll lose. So we'll look forward to this Saturday. We'll look forward to all the rest of the games, though. And I'll just say personally, I mean, Dwight and I are not 16-4, but we just happened to start the podcast when you became the head coach.
No doubt.
And we tell each other, we pinch each other like, dude, like, praise God we started this in 2024 and 2025 and not some other years that shall not be named, because like it's the best we've ever been as a program. You're a really dynamic head coach who's fun to follow. There's so many, great stories within the program, which is what we always talk about. We care about stories more than stats. And so just getting to share some of those, Mitch, you're saying is the voice of the team, the heartbeat of the team, like having him on a few weeks ago. I got off that podcast, told my wife, I'm like, man, one, I'd like to be friends with Mitchell Dixon. Like it feels
Yes.
like he's already like mature enough, not that I'm that mature, where I could just hang out with the guy and do whatever. But also just like, yeah, just so grounded. Again, just really grounded. So thank you for taking the helms and just making this little side hustle for us super, super fun. I will ask you something lighthearted to end.
Okay.
Rich Hernandez. And Rich is rocking an Aggie Pride hat in his Insta bio pic. What's the mustache care and grooming routine?
Mm-hmm.
Asking as an Aggie fan and alum with facial hair that's looking a little scruffy. So I don't know if you do anything special, but Rich wants to know.
Yeah, I gotta say, like it's difficult because you keep it for such a long period of time that it doesn't stop growing or accumulating, depth. And so yeah, every week I gotta trim it or at least try to make it look somewhat symmetrical, not grow over the top of my lips. And man, I got so much gray hair now and I'm balding in my other hair. I'm just happy to have any hair at all that I can display. But yeah, it's a weekly trimming. Definitely got to wash it. Make sure, you take care of that. My wife's not going to give me a kiss if I don't, she doesn't kiss me much during the season anyway because of the mustache. But got to make sure you're doing a good job keeping everything trimmed and symmetrical, I feel like is the key. And, Ted Lasso is the the guy that I look at in regards to, man, I fell in love with that show. I think I've told you guys that, like, that show came out when I was at Boise. And that was like I said, different podcast probably at some point, but that was a difficult time for your boy. And, but that show was out at the right time, man. I was going through it and I felt like he represented all the things that Coach Soker taught me about coaching, right? And I try to tell coaches all the time, that is such a great show about coaching and mental health and leadership and team development. And it's obviously funny. It's a comedic show, but there's some heart to that. And man, when I was at Boise, the players started calling me Tim Lasso because I was super positive and kind of had that vibe about me. And so I just grew the mustache out to try to get some levity in a place that was very strict. And so I just kind of kept it rolling ever since then. I love when the players start growing their mustaches out to try to ride with me. Not as many as I'd like, but if you guys ride the wave and stay with me on the mustache train, I see you're going with it, Brock, which I appreciate. I think it's like, but it has become kind of like my thing to be like, hey, it's football season, right? Like Julian Edelman used to grow that beard out all the way through the year, and they'd play all the way to the Super Bowl, and that thing would be like coming out of his helmet. And so I kind of feel the same way, like, hey, when football season starts, it's mustache time. And then as soon as we, finish the year off, hopefully playing that last game, but I promise you, as soon as that game's done, my wife's first comment is not, hey, great season, babe. Her first comment is, here's the Clippers. Let's get back to normal. And so I can actually see her face for the next 6 months. But I appreciate the question, and I appreciate the following of the mustache. I do think it brings us to Ted Lasso vibe, which I'm looking for.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were going to bring in Ted Lasso or if you're going to be like, yeah, get on the phone with Andy Reid once a week and figure out what we're doing.
I will tell you a funny Andy Reid story, though. So
yes.
There's a play in the last game that we ran down at the goal line, and we kind of short motioned Stacy, and then we kind of got him in a stack, and then we sprung and we threw a touchdown to Sam in the corner. And so that is the play that Kansas City used to beat Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. They ran it twice in the Super Bowl, and when I watched the film of that, they called the play corn dog. And so we were NAU played a similar man style. When you would motion, they would kind of run the guy, and we were like, oh, we should run that play that the Chiefs used to run. So we went and got all the film, and Shelton's like, well, what do we call the play? And I was like, it's corn dog. That's the name of the play. And Shelton was like, I'm not naming a play corn dog. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But we kept the name, but we were debating whether or not to run Sam on a corner route or whether to have him run a different type of route. And we probably talked about it for 30, 40 minutes, like way longer than we should have. And we finally got to the end, and we were like, listen, if Big Red runs a corner route, let's run a corner route. Like, I don't know why it's a corner route, but we should just have it be a corner route. If it's good enough for Andy Reid, it should be good enough for us. Let's stop overthinking this. And in our head, we're thinking, we're not going to throw that anyway. We're going to throw it to Stacy. He's going to run. The guy's going to overrun it, and we'll just throw it to Stacy. And sure enough, they both covered Stacy, and there's the dang corner route wide open. As soon as Sam caught it, Shelton looked at me with that Tennessee accent and was like, gosh darn, corn dog in the corner for a touchdown. That's why Andy Reid runs it, I guess, right? And so shout out to Andy Reid. We steal a lot of Chief concepts, especially inside the 20. He's a guy that we watch every week. So there's a shout out to the corn dog, and maybe next time we'll do a play off of it and call it a chili dog or something. But corn dog worked for us.
Love it. Love it. Love the story. You heard it from Tim Lasso, Coach Tim Plough. Yeah, thanks for joining the pod, man. It's a privilege as always. Wish we could go longer, but we know you've got important things to do. We look forward to the next time we get you on the pod, and look forward to this weekend, man. Really, really, really excited how you and the boys figure out to get it done up in Greeley. So we're all excited and appreciate you coming on.
Man, I appreciate you guys. I want to shout out to Bobby Plough and Dan Plough, my parents. I don't listen to every podcast. Sorry if that ruffles your guys' feathers.
Good.
But my parents do not miss the podcast. They listen to it every week. So you got to remember that if you ever have a bad play call or you want to get after me, just know my mom and dad do not miss an Aggie Pride podcast. So I'm sure they're listening, and I just want to tell my mom I love her, and tell my dad I love him, and keep listening to the Aggie Pride podcast, please, because what you guys do gives a voice. It gives a platform for our program. I know our players listen to it. Man, the more that we can grow this thing, like I said, you guys are a huge part of us not where we used to be right? We're way better than we used to be, and you guys are a huge part of that. And, you know, hopefully we can keep building that, and they support you guys so you guys can keep doing this thing. But I'm very thankful for what you guys do for UC Davis football. And I hope that we can, again, one day, man, we can all sit there together and say, remember when we were talking about it, and now we got it done. So February 28th, mark it on your calendar for everyone listening. I'll see you at Local Edition, Bay Area, February 28th. We're going to drink some wine. We're going to talk Aggie football, and we're going to figure out how to close the gap and get this place to where it needs to be so that one day, whether it's Nashville, Frisco, wherever that is, we're going to stand there together. I'm going to hand that trophy to Bob Biggs, and I'm heading to Tahoe, and life is good.
In the Tahoe Blues. Well, thanks.
Exactly.
Coach.
In the
Thanks
Tahoe
so
Blues.
much. Yeah, no, this was awesome. Thanks again. I will let you get on to the rest of your day, but like Dwight said, good luck this weekend, and appreciate everything you do for the program and for the time we spent together today.
All right, boys. Find joy, man. See you next time.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Coach.